just really calmed down after yesterday. Yeah. If people choose to be part of the apocalypse and stand up for the Lord's Prayer and want to have their pages written in the kingdom of heaven, that's what they'll do. If they don't, if they choose to believe in aggressive, selfish, egotistical protection, mind chemical addiction bullshit, that's what they're going to do. You know, it's horrible, and I understand that, but um, the best you can do is, be faithful, be a good person. I was studied by people that use sex as a as an instrument or a tool to manipulate, which they've been doing for tens of hundreds, a long time since dawn of civilization. Like Richard Dawkins talks about, and all the sexual stuff in the architecture to compel people to be manipulated sexually instead of control themselves sexually, because it's a holy covenant between two faithful people. Something very special, and that's been ripped away from us for, gosh darn. There's Alpha and the Omega. There's the man that in the Homo sapiens, from North Africa to Europe, and that but that's an egotistical projection of a perception of understanding of God by the Homo sapiens. Okay, and don't think they don't have the same egotistical perception in China or other parts, right? As a matter of fact, lots of times, that when encountered, the Chinese with the Europeans, they've proven to be just as arrogant, and in some cases not more arrogant than the Europeans, and obnoxious, and we're so great and amazing, which is brain chemical addiction. But we've also seen that over long periods of time and stuff like that, there's immense, beautiful, amazing humility and beauty, and if you look at this, if you look at D.T. Suzuki, you look at Judah Krishnamurti, and you look at Sun Yat-sen and Confucius. And so there's that, and apparently it has to be in the man because of this, the way we can hunter gather, things, women, everything's coming at you at once. It's real hard to, come to terms with what's happening, especially when you're being affected by aggressive, violent, and selfish brain chemical addiction. Right? Where a man can sit there and go, okay, life's eternal, grace is infinite. She's going to leave me. I'm going to be here all sitting on the dock of the bay, sitting here resting my bones, right? So a man can do that. A man can sit there and go, okay, And a woman, it's harder because, you have the babies, you have the babies, there was the thing, the little kid with the Wilson family in UTEP, and they sit there and said that the staff came in crying because a lot of the families that are poor and can't, get pregnant, and there's fetal alcohol syndrome and things like that, and they just get up and they leave because they can't afford it, and they don't have the where you put a baby in a shopping cart, there's stuff like that, and you can't, and so it's horrible that kind of stuff is still happening. But brain chemical addiction, I really helped sitting watching the monologue and having a virtual presence. Because I wasn't going to go there in spirit like I tried with the Paris Summits and stuff at the Golden Globes when I watched that. And I sit there and look at these people and remember David Rockefeller talking to me, they'll gladly kill over me and my grandpa's money and watch you and Jesus die persons. They'll sell you out for, what was it again? A corner office, validated parking, a timeshare, and a 401k and season tickets and restaurant and reservations at their favorite restaurant. And it's like, yeah, my family does that all the time. And I understand that, and then they think, because you stand on the balcony and piss on everybody who trickle down in economics of Ronald Reagan, that makes you a good and self-righteous and holy, it's a righteous and holy person. And it's like, no, just stand up for the Lord's Prayer, which I did. And that was studied and it's been extensive. And so, Suzuki's like, you already did it. You got to understand that you're just very emotional, and you want Emily to be okay. You want Kate to be okay. You want Natalie to be okay. You want Patrick to be okay. You want Noah to be okay. You want Crummy to be okay. You want their mommies to be okay, even though their mommies were absolutely horrid to you. Yeah, they were terrible. Yeah, they were horrible. But I understand the whole thing with the hemisphere and the brain and me going, life's eternal, grace is infinite. So I understand me. And I understand what I got to deal with. And I hate these things with the primate movies the things with the one that Max and Emmy's mom was just in, that Spider Woman thing where the guy's in prison being denied uh, comfort, and Wesley and Buttercup, and and all the beautiful things that that we have when we're living the ways of the faith of Father Abraham, the ways of the wisdom of Confucius and stuff. And so when they become addicted to that because they're perpetuating being a tool bag for a bunch of turd bags that are military brain chemical addicts, that Sean Penn's pretending to be, and Leonardo DiCaprio, and the lady who's supposed to be his wife, and the girl's supposed to be his daughter, and they're all telling her how gorgeous she is and how she's winning this award and how amazing it is. It's like, you're still you're Red Azalea. Okay, all those directors, that's Mao Zedong, that's his wife, you're like, that's all you guys are. You don't need money to live here. You just need to stand up for your. Oh, everybody get together, ringing in the sheaves. Oh, let's go down to the river and pray. And I get obnoxious, and then I'm just like, fuck, I'm just gonna leave the room. And then Suzuki tells me about stop my fingers, and he goes, that also happens on all your weak points. Yeah, the poisons just try to get out rapidly. The way I process poisons and the way my body tries to clean itself out like a beautiful, perfect river and sustain and live. And they're studying me, and it's a science project, and if you do this, you do that. Yeah, if I'd done other things, and I get up into the mountains, and I have less stress, and I tune more people out that are being mass murdered in the city that accept booing the Steelers offense, and fire Tomlin, and it's like, money ain't real. Just stand up for the Lord's Prayer. Wow, that's nice jewelry. What's that? Oh, that's a sign of stoicism. Okay, take one for the team. Yeah, take one for the team. I still want a Daryl Stingley statue in front of the stadium instead of the old, and make it his size so everybody knows. This man gave all so that asshole can sell you razors and cheese. And sit with the fever fuck. The fever fuck. Hey, it's a fever fuck. Fever. Give me fever. And I'm obnoxious. And I understand I'm obnoxious, but I understand why I'm obnoxious. Well, because my funny, okay, is, Tupac Shakur. You got to laugh just to survive this shit. And I'm, the blades of grass throwing through the concrete with my boy Pac, right? And so, I mean, like, yeah, we ain't talking per that much. I talk more to Keith. Did I talk? I probably talked about as much to them as I did to Bob, and Steph, I don't know though. I spent a whole year, sitting down thinking about writing that book and having the conversations with Steve and Bob. So that was a lot of time, and it was before all this noise from the Wi-Fi is in. So it was different. It was another place to listen. Do you remember it, babe? I got to record that one for my MP3. As the radio played like a carnival tune. I like that one, but I don't got it. But son of a bitch, I'm tired. My body hurts. I'm sore. But I'll get up there. I gotta go out there. You get out in the sun. The sun will do me good. I'll go out there and get the pad and collect all the nuts, and then clean off the roof. And we already trimmed all the trees up there, and we'll have to get out there and cut the firewood. And I got to pull all the weeds, and I gotta lube and tune up the lawnmower and go out and cut all the spots where the stuff will come in real heavy to help the other plants grow in. And we'll just keep that trimmed down while the other plants are growing in to keep all the weeds at bay. And we'll do that. I focus. I'm not planning to fail. I'm not failing to plan or planning to fail. I'm just surviving the fuck for the buck because you guys are all insane, and I understand that. But it was nice because that when I watched that that Kimmel the other night with when she did the Kiss of Spider Woman thing, shit, I'm all on my own. I got to do this all by myself. Patrick ain't gonna help me. Natalie, no one's gonna help me. Right? And then watching that monologue of the Golden Globes, go, yeah, well, I get it. I understand why. Life's eternal grace is infinite. If people have been praying, you got Dwayne on Tackroom Bible Talk. The Lord ain't God. God ain't on your side. It's like this relative brain chemical addiction is totally fucked. But you look at they told the things on the tourism information on Riverton, or they don't fail to mention. Well, Riverton has the highest drug thing and the violence and all that in any town in Wyoming because it's on the res. Okay. And Lander is right next door, but it's not on the res, is what I believe. Okay. So you got the not res people and the res people right next door to each other, right? Lander and Riverton. And then you got, like I explained to you about Fayetteville and Cumberland County, and it's been like that. It's gotten, it's about the same, yo. It ain't really much different, yo. The guy talks about it and everything, and they've been doing that since they hit the place at Dan Schaff's house and sent his wife to Guam, and they've been doing that since Bunny Doon, lady getting raped in the alley, the drug dealer and his girl trying to scope our place and see what we were about, and me and Steffi, kicking their ass and throwing them off the Patrick's mom and dad, right? Yeah, so I was like, yeah, kind of like the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, but in real life, based on real people doing things in the complete bowels of hell where they invent all this stuff. Yeah, so when I sit back and I look at the TV shows and I would sit there and, like Amy would watch American History X, it's like, no, I did all that, but I better because I didn't kill anybody and put tattoos on myself and become a neo-Nazi, and I was a better basketball player. Yeah, than American History X. And you got a big crush on Edward Norton, but you're married to the guy that's could whoop Michael Jordan's ass and not kill people through racism and protect everybody. And we didn't get to prison, but I protected people like that. Yeah. I was also like the black guy that protected Edward Norton in prison, with the guys I didn't even know. You come to my sister's house. I was like that with everything, all the time, everywhere I went. And so all those movies, it's like they make movies. Okay, but it's like the guy at Las Cruces Biologicals, one of the vets, that came up to me, and I sat there and I was going and doing the donation. We were watching Training Day and American History X on the things for the donations. One guy goes, you want to meet those people? You want to meet Edward Norton and Denzel Washington, Earl? I didn't even, they do that to me, and I'm like, what? It's like, they play you, they try to play you in real life, and in movie, and what you do in real life, and they suck at it. In your life, my life is way more amazing and way more meaningful and way more, my brain and the way I can explain things simply to people is more amazing than any of the cameos on Big Bang Theory and the characters, right? And same with being able to protect people from bullying, more amazing than Jason Statham, more amazing than all that. Well, Statham's character, me, you know, as far as protecting children, I get up and stand up for the Gospels and get abused by all the perverts that make him the Hollywood stuntman that makes Redford such a star. Right? And then there's Earl. And then there's Earl. And then there's Earl, never compromising, always amazing. Right on, Earl. Right? And going through all the hell with the poor people because he refuses to accept the money from the wealthy to become part of the propaganda tool bag thing, the simple set Illuminati. Okay. So I got this video game and I connected. This is 2013, when they're doing this to me in the thing. And, everything's way worse now. I won't play the new one. I won't fuck with NIL. I don't play Madden because, I do I just turn off the salary cap and keep my players and all that stuff, I just make it fantasy. But I hate doing the whole economic thing. I like the points with this because all you have to do is put points in. There's no branding, there's no marketing, there's no this, there's no that. It's just pretty much, homesick. And I've also found out how to, if I redshirt players, I just, at the end of the season, I just don't put on autosave. I go through, and if the kid says he wants to transfer because of playing time, I just back out. I go and put him at the top of the depth chart. It says you'll lose the red shirt, but you don't, because you're in, you got to keep your player. Well, because that's a stupid reason to transfer. It's playing time, because you're looking at it going, reason why I redshirt you, because the guy that was playing ahead of you was a senior and just graduated, so you're going to play all season next year, right? So it makes no sense. They always do that with a lot of things, and it's like, but that makes no sense. So you just sit there and you just circumvent the bad AI and keep playing and have fun. It's my world, it's not theirs. You're cheating. I'm not cheating. I'm not. When James does that stuff I was watching the one he played with New Mexico, and he won the national championship. He had to tase himself because the people gave us revamped, and the military people and the military geeks and all that. And I was like, I don't have to kill them. Past, present, future, I would say at the same time. Every day that you live the truth of the Gospels is the day in the life of the kingdom of heaven. Every day that you deny it is a day that you're making primate movies to creep people out, to tell jokes for money, to have sex with superficial people, to flirt with superficial people, to have sex with, I say, if I was a woman, I wouldn't want Michael B. Jordan to come near me. I'd be like, you're a pussy face. You won't stand up to save little girls from getting raped across the border. You'll let COVID kill them so the prayer stops so Parsons doesn't get too angry and can't get the technology to find ways to expose you, with being, business partners with the Epstein's file people. And so they're not attractive at all. You sit there and you look at them, they appear attractive, but they're not, guys. Here comes Adolf Hitler with 5 fashion models on his, like those 3 hot blondes with Dr. Demento. And me and my friends sitting there, and I got pissed. I said, what a fucking asshole. The whole reason he's got those 3 hot blondes all having sex with him because he knows producers in LA is because of guys like you. You guys are the ones that buy all the records and buy, Hairless Sister and listen to that and sing that and come up, and buy a Weird Al album. And that motherfucker he disses you. Now he should sit there and look at girls will be so good. It's just, she gets you're heated like a thermostat. You're lovesick. Now I'm lovesick. He sits there, no, it's something with the biz. I got it. These are my fans. I can't diss them. This is how I get to have a quadruple threesome thing with you guys to get you into movies. So, Guillermo del whatever can make his primate movies. And you're like, it's fucking gross. It is gross. Okay. But we all know it. And life's eternal and grace is infinite. And each moment is crystallized in, like Bob Marley said, how long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We got to fulfill the book. And the thing is, I have one of the most amazing immune systems. And I know it's true because Suzuki's sitting there telling me this hand, yeah. And it does it every winter. And then it goes, yeah. And the same thing's happening in the leg. And you soak. You got to do this. Okay. You have survivor's remorse. I want you to eat the fruits and the vegetables, even though no one else around you is. Okay. Clean yourself out. Give yourself a vegetable cleanse. And if anybody thinks they're worthy of living with you in your vegetable cleansed body, they'll show up. And if they don't, they won't. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. Don't be attached to the flesh. When someone's flesh is broken because they're a brain chemical addict, it's like watching a bunch of drug addicts that won't stop, and you're like, but the kids are, okay, and gambling addicts and, still the same, baby, still the same. So you can't get upset when you see somebody, okay, you could stand up for me as the Messiah, spread it across all your media sites and tell everyone you know, or you could go with a guy who sexually takes advantage of people to become rich and famous and be a groomer for okay. So you're going to go to the Golden Globes with the male equivalent of Ghislaine Maxwell instead of show up for Earl so he can hang out with his kids and garden with Kate and give Patrick a big hug and cry for 20 minutes while he does it. No cameras. Fuck the cameras. Get the fucking cameras out of here. Tell Oprah to go. Tell everybody just get. Okay. Me and Patrick deserve privacy. And if his mom shows up or Noah's mom shows up and we all sit there and we can all sit and talk and go, it's okay. It wasn't us. We weren't doing anything wrong. We were just surviving being lab rats for a bunch of rats that are worse than for Amy Farrah Fowler's on The Big Bang Theory. You cut up that brain, eat your sandwich. It's like, why are you cutting up the brain and eating your sandwich? Okay, why do you need to understand? Okay, you already understand why the brain has bad activity, why your tumors, why this, it's because of stress, you know what the issue is. You're just coming up with, they're just coming up with things to get you to survive it because they're not going to quit because they're addicted. It's like a drug addict going, okay, how can I make cocaine healthy? Well, let's electroshock therapy, healing hearts, healing minds. And you have these people on the news, our kid committed suicide through his prescription drugs like Elvis Presley. And it's really sad. Okay, well then stand up for the Lord's Prayer. If it's really sad, you stand up for the Lord's Prayer because you don't want it to happen anymore. Okay? Otherwise, you're just putting on a show saying the apple don't fall from the kid. The boy was just like me. He grew up just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. It's just that it's more intense with the Wi-Fi and more intense with the drugs now in his generation because you didn't do anything about it than it was in yours. And so you get to be an old fuck who keeps on voting for health care that's affordable to take your drugs. And if you don't get your drugs, you're not going to vote for the next president. I know how you guys are. It's not that you're not capable of love. Okay? Because of your brain chemical addictions. And so, you're not capable of it. And that's what Judo and DT were explaining to me last night and today. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they're not capable. They can't. They don't understand how. So since they don't know how, I have to, that's why the books and the stories, I'm the focal point and I correct quantum computing technology. And all I have to do is reflect that, because that Jason Statham movie, I'll do, that's stupid. You're going to run around with guns and try to kill all the guys that are trying to kill her because you accept linguistics a piece of, I'm gravity. He signed your bill. Now you're a law. Instead of stand up for the Lord's Prayer to really protect that girl and not have to kill anybody and get off on trying to kill them or make movies about people that get off on doing it. Oh, take your UFC and shove it up and take some of the, here's some of your Yoplait. Eat your fucking yogurt. I'm going to kick your I already kicked your fucking ass. I would sit there and say, I'd stick a load of dynamite up your ass and everything like that. Every day I live faithfully and in the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer, and you ignore me to do brain chemical addiction shit. Bam, there you go. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Because all I ever have. Anonymous 13th, 22nd me. All you people being mass murdered in the Middle East and in Iran and Iraq. Elon Musk knows he's a pack of wood on a pussy plantation. And if you think he's actually helping you, it's genocidal operations so he can have a robot to keep himself safe from the other people with robots. Okay? He knows. He knows. They know. They know they're insane. For some reason, they just can't stop. Okay, peace.